I've been thinking about this a lot this week, Eugene, that first of all, it started in Texas and how they are literally holding these Democratic senators hostage, which led me to how many times in our lives do we feel like we are being held hostage by having to stay online? It happened to me with Southern California Edison. In order to speak to a person, I was held hostage for 40 minutes in
hmm
order to speak to a person.
hmm
And I think I get the connection now. For me, being held hostage makes me feel hopeless. So maybe we can merge
Mm.
those two H words together and work it out so that we can give tools on when we feel that the world is holding us hostage, whether it's finances or government or some big corporation, our medical world, whatever it is. But we don't have to feel hopeless about it because we have tools that we can work this out.
Welcome to Eugene Holden's Academy of Self-Mastery, where transformation meets action. I'm Eugene Holden. I'm one of your guides on this journey of personal growth, mindset shifts, and deep self-awareness. Each episode, we dive into the tools, wisdom, and strategies you need to break through limitations and step into your highest potential. No fluff, no shortcuts here, just real conversations, practical insights, and a community dedicated to mastery in every area of life. So, if you're ready to unlock your power, elevate your mindset, and create a life by design, then let's get started. Welcome to Eugene Holden's Academy of Self-Mastery. Welcome to the deep end. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Eugene Holden's Academy of Self-Mastery. It's myself, I'm Eugene, and today I have my co-host, the Reverend Charin Barone, and we're speaking about, the state of the world. And I want to stay, Sharon, with what we were just speaking about, the state, not the world, but let's just keep it here at home in the United States of America, sometimes referred to as the divided states of America, depending on where you're at on that particular moment of the day. And because there are a lot of things going on, and it does seem and can feel that the country is divided, the divided states of America. And so there's a sense, as we were saying earlier, right? This sense of hopelessness, and that people
Mhm,
are feeling hopeless. And we'll bring in the other AH word
mhm,
too. But
mhm.
let's start there, what do you see are some of the ways that people are experiencing this sense of hopelessness? And then we'll get to the tools, but let's talk about some of the ways that people may be experiencing that sense of hopelessness. What are you seeing in your part of the world?
Well, I will give you an example. So I know a family. They are Hispanic. The wife and the mom, she is a United States citizen. Her children were born here. Her husband has a visa. And now how they have to go to work in the Coachella Valley because there are all of these SUV vans that are, and we know that they are ICE agent vans. They have to go to work. First of all, the kids have to go to grandma's house. They have to go to work in another vehicle, and then she drives that vehicle back, and then somebody else takes the work vehicle to the site of wherever they are. And then the kids are asking, why can't you just take us to school right now? Why do you have to take daddy on so many trips? And she feels really hopeless about the situation because she doesn't know what to do. And what do you tell a 5-year-old or 6-year-old? What do you tell them about what that is? Can't give them too much information because that will make them even feel more hopeless about it. So as I look at the depth of her distraughtness, of her, I have to say, agony, and I have spent a lot of time on the phone with her over this, that deep despair and hopelessness can only lead to more of it until we learn how to. We obviously can't change, the world in a moment, but what can we change is right here. So for me, that is one of the deepest examples of hopelessness, because where does it go from here for this
Yeah.
family?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. And with that particular example, not only the hopelessness, an attached or what goes hand in hand with that in this particular case, right, is fear.
Mhm,
Afraid, why do you have to take daddy out, and why can't you take me straight? Well, because I'm afraid that we'll get stopped and they're going to, whatever that is, right?
mhm,
All of that fear. So people who may tune in and people who know you and people who know me and Elle and Reverend Melissa, you know, I'm going to keep it to me. People may ask me, all right, Eugene, this is what's real. This is reality going on here. I'm afraid, I feel hopeless in that I may get stopped and go through all of this rigmarole, even though I was born here, and then my kids are going through. How do I navigate this?
yeah,
How
yes,
do I navigate this? And for me, I can't give them some spiritual platitude that sounds good,
mhm,
right? Because
mhm,
this is their reality
mhm,
now. And at the same time, and at the same time, the platitudes I won't give them, but I will talk about, and we spoke about this. What's that word? Pillar.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know, we
Yes.
talked about pillars, and principles. And so what is one, so I mean, so one of the pillars that I may talk about, to people who are going through that, whew, none of this is simple
Mhm,
or easy, right? Because you're
mhm,
talking about my family. One
mhm,
of the pillars is acceptance.
mhm,
That's that's a challenge.
mhm.
Wait, Holden, are you telling me that I am to accept what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am, because the truth is it's going on.
Mhm,
Me denying that it's happening is not, number one, not going to keep it from going on because it's going on.
mhm,
And it also puts me in a place of lying to myself. Oh,
mhm,
now we get to bring in, I love this. Now we get to bring in that other H word, and now I am holding my or allowing myself to be held hostage
mhm, mhm. By the
because
being held hostage by the situation, right?
being held hostage not just by the not just about the situation, but my unwillingness to accept it.
Ah,
This is
interesting. Okay.
unacceptable, and I will not
Mm-hmm.
accept this. Well, accept the fact, accept that it's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to like what the hell is going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, but
Mm-hmm.
okay, but this is what's going on. And now once I can accept it, again, I don't have to like it. In fact, in this particular case, I can't see how anyone would, right? But when we accept, okay, this is what's happening, going back to now, who am I to be in this situation,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
right? Okay, let me accept this is what's going on. This shit sucks. This
Mm-hmm.
sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going on. Okay, now who am I to be in this sucky situation? Okay, let me be proactive. Let me be, as much as I can, let me be at peace as much as
Mm-hmm.
I can. And now the reason why, Sharon, I bring peace up is because when we are at peace, now we can have some clarity as to who to be and what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the pillars again for me is acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that I have to like what's going on, but this is what's going on. That's why I
Mhm.
like that line that we grew up hearing. There's no sense in crying over spilled milk. Why? Because the milk is spilled. My crying over it is not going to change it.
Not going to do anything about it because it's already done. It's
It's
already
already
done.
done, right? So, shit, okay, this is what's going on. Let me accept what's going on. Who am I to be here? Let me come back into some kind of semblance of peace within myself, no matter how small that might be, so that I can be clear-minded enough to to plot out or see what my next steps are.
So I have a question, Eugene. So let's pretend that this is the first podcast that a person has just watched of the Academy of Self Mastery. So this is the first podcast that they have ever watched. And the question that I have is, how would you explain for this first time viewer of the podcast or hearer of the podcast when you say, who am I to be in this moment? That sounds to me like who am I to be is, well, I want to be the heck out of here. I don't want, you know what I mean? What can you explain so that this first time listener can say, okay, this is the situation. I don't want to be held hostage by it any longer. What does that mean? Who am I to be in this situation?
Great question. Thank you so very much. So what I mean by that question to myself, who am I to be? Basically saying, okay, how am I choosing to show up here? You know, not so much do you, not so much what am I called to do here? That's almost the same. But how do I want to show up? Who am I here to be? What's so am I to be upset about it? Okay, I can be, right? Going back to the gift of choice, right?
Mhm,
The
mhm,
power of
mhm,
decision, or who am I to be? Am I to be? Let me be at peace with what's going on, as I had mentioned, because now that I'm at peace, I'm being peace. Now I can get clear on what my next steps are. Who am I to be? Let me be active. Let me call someone. So
mhm.
again, it depends. So when I speak about who am I to be, I'm speaking of who am I to be mentally, who am I to be emotionally, especially emotionally. You know.
Eugene, hold on. Can we
Yes,
hold on for a second?
there we go.
Okay.
And now we're back. Yeah, so that's what I mean by, who am I to be? Am I to be patient? Am I to be upset, which is okay to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, now I'm choosing to be clear. Let me choose to be quiet. Let me choose to be still, because maybe in this particular situation at that time, I need to be still so that I can get clear on what's next for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that I can then take myself from being a hostage to the situation.
Oh, there we got it. I just got the link. Hello, hello. I'm clicking on my own link here. That when um when we ask ourselves, who are we to be in this situation? And let's say, I choose to be peace in this situation, then I can no longer be held hostage by the situation. There's the link. I can no longer be held hostage by this situation because I am being peace and you're not going to disturb me. So you
Right,
can't hold me hostage.
right,
I have the power here. You can't
right,
hold me hostage anymore,
right,
which means that I am no longer helpless or hopeless
right,
in it.
right, right.
I'm free.
Yeah, that's the word. Because if I'm not being held hostage, well, then I'm free.
Hmm.
Now, that doesn't say, folks, please hear us, that we're not downplaying the situation of this ICE thing. We are not doing that. What we are doing or attempting to do is to give some possible tools to help deal with that situation and others that you personally you might be going through.
Hmm.
Ask
Hmm.
the question, who am I to be here? You know?
I just find this Even if you are a first time viewer, you will get excited about this. I promise you. When we realize in our lives that we have tools, inner tools that we get to use to say, "Oh my gosh, I can be better in this situation. I no longer have to be in financial ruin because why?
Mm,
I get to change my mind. I get to change the choices that I'm making so
yeah.
that I can get out of this financial. I'm just using finances,
Right.
because
Right.
people talk a lot about, oh, how am I going to make the mortgage this
Right.
month? Or my utility bill was $250, which took it out of my grocery budget, or whatever. I use that because it's a real thing in
It's
people's
real.
lives.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real. But there is a way. There is a way, and we just got the connection here, guys. We just got the connection, folks, that when we change our minds, be willing to change our minds, then we can change our hearts and say, okay, I get to choose a little bit differently here. I don't have to be a victim to this circumstance, financial or health or anything else. And yeah, does it take a little bit of discipline and you have to do it constantly? Yeah, you have to do it constantly, but then you can get excited about it when you see these little incremental changes in your life. Like, sometimes what happens, especially in finances, we have this term, in New Thought that we've been using for a long time. It's called unexpected income. And I remember being in this kind of financial crisis one time, and I said, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it? And then I thought about it and I said, well, it is what it is. And then I said, no, it's not, it is what it is. I am going to expect something different. And lo and behold, I won't tell you the bank, but I got a $450 check from a bank because of what do they call those lawsuits, multi-lawsuit kind of thing.
Class action.
And it was totally unexpected.
Hmm.
Totally unexpected. So when we're willing and open, totally unexpected good can come into your life. You don't know where it comes from, but you know that you're working it. And
Right.
that you can be excited about.
Right. And so that's a good point. And I'm glad that you brought up the finances, right? The financial aspect, because people are experiencing that, right?
Mhm.
And that's real. And when you hear us talk about, folks, you hear us talk about, change your thinking, change your life. And somebody who might be watching this for the first time, or maybe, has been around for a while and goes, well, yeah, but how does that change my life? Well, without us knowing our thinking, let me use myself, right? Without me knowing, my thoughts continuing to be on lack and limitation created the experience of lack and limitation. Now, let me give you an example of what I'm saying here. For example, oh, can't afford that. I'm not going to go out tonight because I can't afford to pay for whatever it is. So those are the thoughts that's going on, and those thoughts create my experience.
Mhm.
So when we talk about change your thinking, you can change your life. Well, what we're really doing is taking my thought from lack and limitation. Oh, I will never be able to afford that. To, you know what? I am so grateful that I can experience this,
Mhm.
that I'm experiencing it now. Now, people might go, Eugene, you're talking out of the side of your neck when you talk about I'm experiencing it now. Well, it may not be experienced in this moment physically, but there are things going on in the invisible. And as long as I keep my awareness on what I want to experience, more abundance, and I'm done
Yes.
when we get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and
Mhm.
tired of feeling this lack. I'm sick and tired of this. That's when we start to make that shift. I'm done with this. I love that one. Oh man, because I've gone through that, right? I'm done with this spirit. I'm done with worrying about where my money's going to come from. But then there's more work to be done, right? Okay, now I'm
Mhm.
done. Now what is it that I want? Because the question is, okay, or the answer to the question, what do you want? And usually people go, well, I don't want this. I don't want to experience this lack of limitation. I don't want to experience having feeling bad because I can't afford. Okay, great. But the question is, what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when we start answering that, oh, I want to live in a way where I'm not worried about paying for my rent. I want to live where I know I can go out to eat whenever I want to, and then start thinking that and feeling that and feeling
Mhm.
that and thinking that. And then here comes the really key part is to believe that you can have it.
Yes. Believe that you deserve it.
And it's
You know,
not even about the deserve.
what is it? What is it?
And the reason why I say that is
Mhm.
because it's already been given
But we don't know that, right? We don't
until now.
until now. Yeah, yeah. We don't know that it's already been given because our what's our influences through the years, through the life and
Our
everything.
upbringing, yeah,
Yeah, upbringing, that's the word. That we don't know that. But
right.
isn't that a great realization? So let's get back to that. I'm always going to, because I want to learn from this, Eugene. I too am about self-mastery, so I want to learn. So I pose another question to you. In terms of what you just talked about, how is it then we can show up in that situation in our hearts and minds? We can show up as financial success in our minds and accept that that's what it is. What are those actual tools that we can apply every day to know that truth and to bring it into manifestation, bring it
Yeah,
into our world?
yeah, yeah. Again, Sharon, a great question. And the answer, because you've been doing this work as well, right, for a while. And the
Yes.
answer, folks, is going to sound really easy, and it really is, and it's small, right? So, what are some of the tools? I love affirmations. I
Yeah.
love affirming, right? I am the abundance of the universe. Now, this is why
Mhm.
I love affirmations. Affirmations for me and affirmative prayer for me, these are tools that change or reprogram the subconscious mind, which is where all of that other stuff is created. Because remember, for years, I may have been told I will never be enough, I will never have enough, because that's in my subconscious mind, in my subconscious, which is the law of our lives,
Mhm.
creates things for us to experience. They create, the subconscious mind creates what I have given it, or what it has been given, right? So
Mhm.
when we're
Mhm.
younger and
Mhm.
we're told all of these
Yes.
things, and we don't have any control as to what can go into our subconscious and what
Mhm.
can't, because we're young and we
Yes. Yeah.
believe everything that we've been told as kids. Well, not everything. Some things as kids we question, like that doesn't make any sense. Um, so the subconscious mind has been so bombarded with those negative, um, disempowering thoughts. So affirmations and affirmative prayer, affirmations are used to reprogram the subconscious mind. So no, I am no longer thinking subconsciously that I am only created to experience lack, because subconsciously that might be the hidden belief. But now,
Mhm.
as I start
Mhm.
to affirm, I live in an abundant universe. I live in an and affirm that over and over again until I begin to feel the truth of that. Now life begins to shift. Experiences begin to shift. People and things come into our lives to help with that shift. And opportunities start to a arise. And this here's what I love about what I'm saying is this has been my experience.
Yes. Yeah.
I was that guy who slept in cars.
Mhm.
Didn't know what I was going to eat. Sold plasma twice a week to get $20 per week so I can go eat,
Mhm.
until I got sick and tired of that. Like,
Mhm.
screw this. I'm done
Mhm.
with this. Is not how I'm supposed to live.
Mhm.
And when I said screw this, then my life changed.
Yeah.
And then
Why?
things.
Because you changed. You
Well,
got tired.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
when I
changed.
got sick and tired of being sick and tired, I'm like, screw this. I'm not
Yes.
doing this. I'm better than this.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then made, the physical changes. And the physical change was to move back, to where I grew up. And within the week of, that I moved back, got a job. I like that, right? Because so when we begin to change our thinking with feeling, because that's important, when we begin to change our feeling, our lives begin to change. That's
Yeah.
just how it is. That's just law. So when we talk about acceptance, accept that.
Yeah, except that. And I
Accept that.
love the beauty of and how I felt as you were saying it is that affirmation that you know, I am living and I'm paraphrasing what you said, but I am living an abundant life. I am abundant.
Yeah.
I am. I all of my needs are met right now. Why? Because I am abundant. I was created for this. And
Yeah.
it is just entirely about a feeling and a knowing that comes. And in that feeling, like you said, then we go about changing our world because of it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, I just want to hold you in that, Eugene. It was such a, it was a beautiful, even though I know this is we're online and you are miles away from me, but I feel it here
Yeah.
sitting in my living room
Yeah.
and you with those, pillars of consciousness behind you. It's just,
Mm.
it is that, and this is how we do it. This is how
This is how we do it. And bum,
yeah.
sadum, badum. This is how we do it,
This is
truly.
how we do it. Yeah.
See,
Yes.
what one of the things that I'd love to say, people, everybody, is that as far as I am concerned, I'm just here to remind us of who we are.
Amen.
And who we are brilliant.
Oh,
We as human beings, we are magnificent. You folks are magnificent,
magnificent. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we have been given everything that we need. We really have. Life has
Amen.
given us everything. The planet provides everything that we need. And so we don't owe life. No, life doesn't owe us anything because it's
Mhm.
given us everything. Now we owe life
Mhm.
by giving back. And what
Mhm.
do we give back? We give of our creativity. So
Mhm.
what is it that you want to create, folks? What dance do you want to make up or just dance? Right?
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
story is wanting to be written?
Mhm.
What painting is wanting to be put on the canvas? What book
Mhm.
is ready to be released through you?
Mhm.
And once we start to remember who we are, then that sense of hopelessness begins to go away.
Mhm.
And with
Mhm.
that, the sense of being a hostage.
It's
See,
it's no longer yeah.
because I'm gonna tell you something, Sharon. I was a hostage to my crazy thinking for the longest time.
Mhm.
That thinking of who do you think you are?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was held hostage to God. I will never be more than what I am now.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
held hostage to the belief that I would never make more money than my mom made per a year. I was held hostage to all of that until I got sick and tired of going. Because there's that
Yeah.
little voice that knocks on everyone's heart. Let me out.
Mm-mm. Mhm. Mhm.
Life is better than what we're experiencing, in spite of what the appearances are.
Well, I know when I'm about to say these words and you replace it with words that work for you or out there. But this is what Eugene just said of, we are all being held hostage by whether our circumstances or, life. And when I feel like I'm being held hostage, I say this to myself. I am a magnificent child of God, created in the image and likeness. I was told this in scripture. And being that magnificent child of God, God saw what it created and he called it good. And that means that I, Charin Barone, being that magnificent child of God, I get to create my life exactly the way I want it because that is God talking through me. It's God's idea of me. So let's go out and create that in our lives.
Yeah, yeah. And stand on the acceptance of that truth and fact. The truth and fact. See, and I say it like that because fact isn't always the truth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? Because for example, right? Speaking of the prosperity side, right? The fact is the bank account could look like negative blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
But the
Hmm.
truth is we are surrounded by an abundant universe. We are surrounded by infinite possibilities. That's the truth.
Hmm.
Now the fact is the bank account says this, but the truth is, oh, there are ways for me to change that fact.
Amen. Yes, Eugene.
Does that
Yes.
make sense?
That absolutely makes sense. And now
Yeah.
we just go out into the world and apply it. And everybody can do it. This is just not for Eugene or Reverend Melissa or Elle, or it's for everybody,
Yeah.
right where you
Yeah.
are right now. You get to change it.
Yeah.
Changing your
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You have people in your lives that every time you talk with them and you're with them, there's always this dun, 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 there's always an argument that
Hmm.
just doesn't feel good, and you feel hopeless because maybe you feel like you can't let go of that relationship. Let go of the relationship.
Hmm.
Let go of it in love, not because they're wrong and you're right, because it doesn't work.
As simple as that.
As
That's what I
simple
call
as
good old
that.
common sense.
You know, because it doesn't work.
Yes, yes.
Again, this is important, right? It's not because I think that person is wrong and I'm right. No, it's because
No.
the way it's going on, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Now we can talk about how can we make it work for both of us. And if that doesn't work, I love you. I gotta go.
Yeah. Simple as that. Yeah. Yes.
Instead of being held hostage to the
Hostage.
relationship that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And how many of us, how many people do you know that do that still?
Hmm. I could name them. Yep.
Yeah,
No, I
right?
won't. But yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but you won't. Yeah, right?
But I won't.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And I was one.
Yeah. And I
Hanging
have
on,
been that in the past as well.
right?
I have to raise my hand on that one too, Eugene.
Hanging on
Yep.
to relationships that just didn't work
Hmm.
and felt hostage and hopeless.
Hmm.
Come home,
Yes.
be pissed off because you had another fight, with this person. Ugh. Well, you just
Yeah.
let this go.
Yeah. Yeah. Let it
In
go.
love. See, because here's the other thing, another pillar or principle is the principle or the pillar of love.
Hmm.
Check this
Hmm.
out. If I continue to choose to be a hostage, because it's our choice, right? But once I let go of that, once I choose to go, you know what, this doesn't work for me. I have to say bye to this. That's self-love. That's love. That's taking care
Hmm.
of me.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, folks, do whatever you need to do to take care of you, to love you. Do you love yourself enough to walk away from a situation? Do
Yes.
you love
Exactly.
yourself enough to say, you know what? I am no longer willing to feel hopeless.
Hmm.
Do you love yourself enough to affirm your abundant life?
Amen.
Well, do you? Do you?
Yeah. I say amen to that.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
That's what I love about self-mastery, because it's all about that egoic self that gets in the way. No, I'm gonna hold firm to this. I am right and you're wrong. No, let that go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the self-mastery is learning how to identify that
Hmm.
and then going, oh, this doesn't work, and then having the courage and the willingness to, you know what, let me let this go.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing, folks. Sometimes you may need to let go of some really good friends and some members of the fam
Family.
fam fam fam
Yep.
family because it doesn't work for you. Remember, your soul, you are here on purpose for a purpose.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful stuff, Sharon.
Yeah. Oof. Mm. The tools are here.
The tools are here.
They're here. And now we get to use them. We get
Yeah,
to use them.
yeah,
We get to
yeah.
use them.
And here's the other thing about that, right? If you are not sure of what those tools are, Ask.
Good
Ask,
point.
right?
Yeah.
And
eh,
here's and you don't need to go out and to search far and wide. Ask
mm-mm.
yourself, what do I want?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ask.
And only you can answer that. Yeah. Can
Yeah.
make it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Great. That's a good one. That's a wrap.
That- That's a wrap. Blessings to all.
Everybody, I want to thank you once again for joining us on the Eugene Holden's Academy of Self Mastery.
Amen to
So
that.
we're here every week, and we'll be seeing you soon.
All right.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.